Welcome to the bush. This is Steve, good friend of mine. We've been friends for a long time, rode ragbri together, had a lot of fun, and most importantly, we like to brew beer together. Today, we're going to be brewing some beer in the woods. We'll call it Bush Light, not to be mistaken with a big company out of St. Louis, Missouri. This is our own Bush Light. So we've got our beer now up, or our water up to 140 degrees, and Steve is going to put in the grains that you saw us grinding with our coffee grinder. And so Steve's he's gonna do the honors. He's gonna tie them, and he's just gonna tie a knot in it's just a muslin bag. Most home brewers are pretty familiar with those. He's gonna lift the lid, and he's gonna toss the grains right in. We're doing a real simple brew today. We're doing about a 4-gallon batch, and we're doing kind of a new no-boil brew. Since this is the first time that I have ever tried brewing beer in the bush over an open fire, I decided to go with the easiest possible method of brewing. This is kind of like, well, it's kind of like making macaroni and cheese out of the box. Everything is kind of really done for you, and all you've got to do is boil some water, basically. If this works out, the next time we brew, then we're going to do a little more complex version where we have to do more stuff on our own, and eventually we're going to go all grain, which is where we literally take the barley and turn it into beer. But for now, we have one of these beer kits. It comes with the yeast. It's already hopped, but I did bring some extra hops. We're going to give it an extra hop kick. I got some pellet hops here. And then you add a little bit of sugar to get the fermentation kicked up. But the only reason we're going to bring this to a boil is simply to sanitize the snow. You want to make sure, that is the biggest thing in beer brewing, is you want to make sure everything's sanitized. You know what time it is? It's step 2 time. Ooh! Oh, man, that's good. That's really good. Is it worthy of a new?
Yeah.
Cool.
Shall I give a new?
No, I think you should.
Okay.
I think you should. But it's got to be natural. That's the thing with the ooh. If it's just got to come naturally. Like nothing comes out if I try to do it now. But watch. Ooh. That's how it goes.
How about here we go. Let's see how I do. Ooh ah. That'll work.
So it's been not quite 20 minutes, but our now we call it wort. Our wort is heating up to a boil now. So I went ahead and pulled this because once the temperature gets above 170, you'll get bitter flavors and stuff from this. So I'm gonna get this out of there. It smells really good. But anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this up to a boil just for a couple minutes to sanitize it, and and then we'll be removing it from the heat and adding our fermentables. So that's the plan. So Steve's going to throw the lid back on. We've got a thermometer in there, and when it gets close to boiling, we'll know. I really wanted to do this with more snow on the ground because we really need the snow. The idea is after this comes to a boil for a few minutes and everything is sanitary, then we want to cool it down as quickly as possible. As you can see, I'm in a t-shirt. It's like over 50 degrees out here today, but there is some remaining snow. So that's why I called Steve and I said, hey, this might be the last chance we get. It's getting towards the end of February. This might be the last chance we get to make beer out of snow over a fire. So let's do it, you know. And so we scrounged up what little bit of snow was left on the ground, and we're getting her done. But the thing is, I really wanted to put it in a snowbank to cool it off. Instead, we're going to have to do what they call the no-chill method, which is we're just going to have to leave it out until it's cool enough to pitch our yeast. Pitching yeast means you're adding yeast to it. Yeast is what makes alcohol. Yeast eats the sugars and basically poops out two things. It poops out alcohol and carbon dioxide. Those two things, that's what makes your beer. Until we add the yeast, it's actually called wort. Or wort, as the uncool people call it. But I call it wort because that just sounds grosser and I like it better. But, you know, we're going to make the best of it. And we're going to bring this up to a boil, make sure it's good and sanitary, add our fermentables. Like I said, we're doing the basic, simple type of beer kit today. Next time we do beer, it's going to be a little more complicated. But I thought we'd start at the ground level and work our way up. So that's where we're at. We're at about 200 degrees. Our kettle is just about boiling. We're going to let it boil for a few minutes. And then we'll be adding our fermentables. And then we're just going to set it somewhere nice and cool. And the temperature is going to drop tonight down to about 35 degrees. So it really shouldn't take all that long for this to cool down. We want to pitch our yeast at about 70 or 80 Fahrenheit, somewhere around there. And so I'll show that when we get to it. But for now, we've got some beer to drink. So we just pulled, this has been boiling on the fire for definitely long enough that we know that it's sanitary. So we're going to add our hopped malt extract now. Steve's going to remove the lid, and I'm going to stir this right in. So here we go. Now, this is going to come out like molasses, because see, it's very, very thick. And I'm going to stir it in. You know, beer brewing can be a little more crude than you think. Like, it doesn't have to be an entirely scientific, crazy process, really. It can be a little more crude. We're totally not following the directions because Steve and I have formerly worked for breweries, and Steven currently works for a brewery. So
I do.
We kind of, believe it or not, it might not look like it, but we know what we're doing. But you have to check out the beautiful sunset that has just formed behind us. All right, it is getting dark on us, but okay, so we want to get this up. We're a little bit around 5%. I've got a 4-pound bag of sugar here. I'm going to add I'm going to try to add approximately 1 pound. This is the most unscientific batch of beer I've ever brewed in my life. I think Steve can say the same, but we're doing it in the woods. So what do you expect? It's bush light. It might not be light, it's bush. It's just bush beer. Actually, this is going to be heavier than Bush Heavy, the name brand one. Anyway, about a pound. Yeah, right there.
There we go.
Stir that in. And then we'll check it again with our refractometer and see what our potential alcohol is. So we've got our refractometer here. I'm going to use the camera as a light source to, oh yeah, that works perfect. 1058. All right, so we've achieved a specific gravity of about 1058, give or take, which means that we're gonna have just a little, probably over a little 5% or so alcohol by volume. So we're gonna have a nice, easy drinking beer with not a whole lot of alcohol. This shouldn't be too bad. What do you think, Steve? This is the second tripod that's bit the dust.
Let's burn it.
Yep.
We should or is that...
Yeah, I got a better idea. I didn't want to burn it. This is what I want to do with it.
Yeah,
Cheap crap.
that's for the... It's probably made in China.
Guarantee it's made in China.
Then all it did was fall over. Yeah.
It's nuts. You know what? I got a tripod for us. Right over here.
That
You know what? This one was made right here in the US of A.
and no Uyghurs were harmed in the making of this tripod.
The mounting system could use some improvement, but its quality and made in the United States. Is this thing on? Check. 1, 2.
It's all natural microphone.
Okay. So here's the deal. We just broke my tripod, or I did, or it just broke. It fell over and broke. Here's the deal, though. I'd like to give a big shout out to Travis Fox at Fox Optic. He donated a really badass carbon fiber tripod for in the bush, and we're going to be using that in the next video. It is absolutely awesome. I haven't even put it all together yet, but it's got like the mounting system is incredible. And so I just want to tell you all to go to www.foxoptic.com, and I want you to check out their stuff. They got all kinds of different stuff. They got a lot of shooting stuff, tripods, scopes, all kinds of stuff, all kinds of mounting equipment. I do really appreciate it, because I'm going to have to use it, because right now we're using a wooden tripod that I made, and it's gonna go to good use, because as you can see, I just smashed my other tripod against a tree. So here we are. Our beer has chilled down to the temperature that we want it to be, so we're going to simply transfer it now to the fermenting vessel. And we're both getting hungry, so we got some steaks and some food that we're going to cook over the fire.
Yep.
So without further ado, here we go.
Bad.
Okay, so what we have here is a fermenting bucket that we're going to use for this beer, and this has a substance in it called star sands. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to sanitize the yeast packet itself. I'm just going to dip it in, pull it out, and set it aside. And the reason is we just don't want any sort of bacteria to come into contact with our wort. What we're going to do is dump this out and pour our wort in here, and then we're going to put our yeast right on top. And hopefully, with any luck, within the next 24 hours, we will see some bubbling and some activity and some fermentation going on, and we'll have beer. So this is clean and it's ready to receive our wort. So I'm going to pull it out. Our wort is about 70 degrees at this point, and we're going to simply, I'm going to dump it in from really high up because we want to oxygenate it. And that's why I'm dumping it slow.
Oh yeah, look at those bubbles.
Yep. Oop. Trying to keep most of it in the bucket, if possible. It would be nice to have, you know, a good 3.5 gallons of beer out of this deal, which we should. Now, we're going to pitch our yeast. So we sanitized his knife. This is most definitely the first time any of us has ever brewed beer in the bush. You want to drink a real bush beer?
This is it. You have to wait a few weeks.
This is the moment that this goes from being wort to actual beer. I can smell that bready. Yeah, that bready, yeasty smell. Love it. There's your knife. There's your knife back. I'm gonna put a cap on this, and we're gonna get it in the cabin with the wood stove, where it can begin fermentation. And I'm hoping tomorrow when I wake up, we'll see some action. Oh, come on. The airlock allows the CO2 created by the yeast to escape the vessel, but it does not allow any oxygen to come in. At this point, we don't want no more oxygen introduced to the beer. So at this point, we want to just drive all the CO2 out. With any luck, this might be a reasonably drinkable beer. There's a good chance it might not be. This is made entirely of snow. So, as always, who does this? So we seasoned up a beautiful sirloin. A beautiful, if you don't know what cut of steak that is, then you need to learn your steaks. And over here on the wood stove, we're starting some au gratin potatoes. These are just the box kind. And we're about to throw some eggs on. We're gonna have steak and eggs and potatoes. Steven stoked up the fire outside, and we're gonna be throwing our steaks right over that fire. It's gonna be delicious. Eggs and cast iron, baby. That's how it works when your cast iron is properly seasoned. Got some ham on there, getting ready to sprinkle some cheese on it. Oh, look at that. Eggs on properly seasoned cast iron do not stick at all. All right. I think we're eating good in the bush tonight. Oh, and Frank's Red Hot to go on our eggs, because it just doesn't get any better than that. Oh, by the way, Steve, we got to explain to him something about this steak.
Got a good smoke flavor. It's not hickory or cherry. It's
Black locust.
Black locust.
But it's freaking amazing. So I forgot to bring utensils to the cabin. I normally try to keep paper plates, bowls, you know, cups, all the general supplies of the cabin, but I forgot utensils. So Steven and I bushcrafted some honeysuckle, which happens to be hollow in the center, and we made little sporks, basically, out of it. And yeah, show them how it works, Steven. Is it actually doing the job, or are we just idiots?
It works pretty good.
I mean, it's not quite like a spoon, but it will grab, yeah, it grabs the food and does the trick. So that is the honeysuckle spork.
It's easier than chopsticks.
Yes. yeah, exactly. What'd you think, Steven?
That didn't suck.
Dude, I don't know what you did with that steak, but it was amazing.
You ate it.
Oh, yeah, I ate it up. That was good stuff. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm kicking back, having me a very, very good cigar. The shenanigans are over. Had some time to let the food settle. Steven has went to bed in his Durango. It is 35 for the low tonight. It's about 37 degrees right now. He's got 2 sleeping bags, and I gave him some extra blankets. He's good to go. I'm going to pass out here in the cabin. So the shenanigans are over for now, and I'm just settling in back to the NAs. I don't want to wake up with a hangover. We had our fun time's over. It's time to go to bed here in a little bit, But I will say this. I'm having this cigar, and I want to give a big shout out to a really, really good friend of mine, Dave Stamper. Dave, I just want to say thank you very much. This is the Monte Cristo. This is one of the best cigars I've had in a long time. And just want you to know I really, really appreciate it. And I'd love for you to join me sometime in the bush. We'll have a cigar together. It'll be great. This is a beautiful cigar. It's burned perfectly even. It's just been very enjoyable sitting here, you know, unwinding at the end of the night. This wonderful cigar. I don't know if that beer is going to turn out or not, but it was really fun just getting to hang out with a buddy, drink some beer, make some beer in the bush over an open fire out of snow. Who does that? We do it. We do it here in the bush. I'm going to finish unwinding here and hit the sack. We'll see y'all in the morning. Coffee time.
That's right.
I slept really, really well. It was just perfect in the cabin here. It was 30 something degrees out. I just kept the wood stove at a low roar, and man, I slept. The moonlight was coming in, the stars out. It was beautiful. How was your night in the Durango? I'm curious how your sleep system worked out.
I did all right. It took a while to get comfortable. I'm gonna have to put a piece of plywood in there and move the passenger seat up as far as it can go, and then I'll be able to stretch out better.
Yeah, you just need a long flat surface that's not lumpy, right?
Yeah, it took me a while. I finally found a comfortable spot.
Sweet.
Yeah. So, and I had to crack the windows. I figured that out. It was getting a little too foggy in there, and so I cracked the windows, got some fresh air. That helped.
Yep, too many farts. But no, it was a great night. It's another beautiful day. Temperatures up around 60 degrees almost, so we're going to take advantage of it. But we're just going to goof off today, so I don't think any reason to film anymore. I'd like to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. Big thank you to Fox Optic, and big thank you to Steve for coming. Our beer,
thanks for having me.
Our beer is fermenting. Our beer made entirely in the bush out of snow. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks everybody. We'll see you next time in the bush. Well, it is 1 month later, and Steven and I are trying out the beer. This is our bush beer. It is officially on tap. It's a rainy, nasty day. We were going to go back to the cabin, but we just spent the afternoon. We cooked some good food, had some homemade maple syrup on our waffles, as you will see in that video, because it hasn't came out yet. But here is the bush beer. Cheers.
Cheers.
Let's see if it's worthy of an ooh.
Ooh.
Ooh ah, ooh ah, ooh ah.
Look at when I started.
Pretty good stuff. Wait, I don't know.
It is good. It's
Ooh! So it is very possible to brew a beer in the woods over a campfire, ladies and gentlemen, using snow as water.